In today's episode, Lou asks, we're executing a 3-month marketing communications program. Typically, such programs take 3 to 6 months to show good net results, to show end results, but we've been asked by stakeholders for metrics for a 1 to 3 month time frame. What metrics or KPIs could we be using to demonstrate success or hints of success? This is it's a tricky situation. If the work that you're doing has only a binary outcome, then there isn't much you can do. And by that I mean, for example, if you are supporting someone who is running for office, there's a binary outcome, right? Either elected or not elected. However, most communications programs, most marketing communications programs do not have binary outcomes. They have an end success state, perhaps, but most of the time, they are more like growing your garden, right? So you plant your seeds, you water them, you weed the garden, and so on and so forth. And over time, the seed sprouts, and you get these little plants that start growing, and then get bigger. And pretty soon you're like, oh look, that's an entire stalk of corn, or whatever the case may be. And we can measure that growth, even though the outcome isn't usable yet, right? So just because a corn stalk has gotten tall doesn't mean that there's an edible seed pod at the end of it yet. But we can at least say, hey, we're on the right track. Here's the thing is growing. It's the right color. It didn't turn yellow and fall over. Things like that. The same is true of a communications program, where you can say, okay, we're doing the things, right? We're watering, we're weeding, etc. And we're getting growth out of the program. It's not where we want it to be yet. So the first thing that you need to do with any kind of metrics program is establish what the end goals are. What have we told stakeholders? Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to increase purchase consideration 5%, or we're going to increase organic search, branded organic search by 12% in whatever the time frame is, and then start measuring what are contributory metrics to those things. So if we've made a promise for, say, NPS score being up 3 points, NPS is Net Promoter Score, which is a function of sentiment. So we should be analyzing all of the different inputs into our communications program, comments and articles and things, for overall sentiment using the sentiment library of your choice, and be able to identify, yes, we're increasing sentiment on individual pieces of commentary and content and things over time to help persuade people to rate our brand more highly. If our goal is lead form fills as part of the marketing function, then are we getting, one of the most important things there would be getting traffic to those landing pages that have the forms on them. So can we demonstrate the intermediary step? We're getting the traffic to those landing pages, and then it is up to people to obviously fill out, understand and see the value, and then fill out the form. And then what are the things that generate traffic? So do we get social media mentions to the landing page, and so on and so forth. So whatever the goal is, we want to sequence backwards the intermediary and the contributory metrics that lead to those end state goals. And like any classic marketing funnel, marketing operations funnel, we should be able to show, okay, we haven't created any activity at the bottom of the funnel yet, but we've gotten stuff started at the top of the funnel, and some of it will eventually get to the bottom in the 3 to 6 to 9 month time period. One of the things we want to avoid doing as a metric is we want to avoid activity metrics. They're unhelpful, because you can talk about, for example, how many times you've watered the garden or weeded the garden, but if you forgot to plant the seeds, all the activity doesn't mean anything. You're not going to get a result. So you want to show metrics that are contributory to the end result, that are causal to the end result. What are some other intermediary growth metrics? Well, for communications, we're talking about things like social media mentions and engagements. We're talking about branded organic search, when people search for you by name, or search for your products or services by name, or your individual brands if you're a larger corporation. Survey responses are super important, especially in B2C, being able to demonstrate awareness and intent to purchase. Running surveys are relatively inexpensive and a good way, as long as they're sampled properly and representative of your target population, to say, yeah, we're moving the needle in awareness of the brand and intent to purchase the brand. If you're doing traditional public relations, media placements is an outcome that is worth pointing out. And then all the contributory metrics that go around a media placement, like the number of social shares or the search value or the number of clicks on it, and so on and so forth. For owned media, like a website or landing pages or microsites, being able to show user growth, session growth, interactions. The amount of, if there's a large body of content, it's time on page. If there is a funnel to get people moving around, it's lowering your exit rates, things like that. And then if you're doing stuff around sentiment and service, NPS, Net Promoter Score, sentiment scores, sentiment in engagements that lead to those Net Promoter Scores, all of these things are ways to demonstrate intermediary metrics. The bigger challenge is to determine which ones are relevant based on the end goal of the program, which we talked about earlier, and then visualizing them for stakeholders to be able to say, things are going our way. I would recommend with a lot of the digital metrics that you look at a dashboarding system like Google Data Studio, A, because it's free, and B, because it ties into many of the systems like Google Analytics, like Google Consumer Surveys, like Google Search Console, that you can bring in these metrics and assemble a nice looking dashboard that is a nice summary level of all of your metrics, and then be able to let somebody else change the date and change the filters and things, and let them poke around and feel like they have control of the reporting. That will make them feel much better than waiting for you to report to them. Dashboarding software like that is super important. So the final thing I would say is that helping them understand the analogy of like cooking or better like growing a garden is an important mental framework for this kind of thing. Yes, you can demonstrate intermediary metrics, but if someone's saying, I want the end outcome faster, guess what? There's only so much you can do. In the world of gardening, with genetic engineering and hydroponics and advanced chemistry, there's still only so much we can do to accelerate the growth of a plant. Time still has to pass. The natural process still has to pass. There's no food crop that I know of that instantly appears overnight. Even in things that we're doing now scientifically, like cloning meat, still takes time to grow those cells. So helping the stakeholders understand, yes, we can show you contributory intermediary metrics, and here they are, but understand the end outcome you want still will take time, and there's only so much we can do to hurry that up. There's simply no way to make it instant. If you want instant traffic or whatever, you should have bought some ads instead. And you should have spent millions of dollars overnight to buy some ads. That would be a slightly faster way to get to that end result. So, great question, complicated question. It requires understanding on the part of your stakeholders in order to make it work. But hopefully, these intermediary metrics and ideas about dashboarding help. As always, if you have comments or questions, leave them in the comments box. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and the newsletter. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. If you want help with your company's data and analytics, visit braintrustinsights.com today and let us know how we can help you.